going on, guys? This is going to be the part 2 to the power steering line replacement. We have everything hooked up. So this is bolted back on, reservoir's back on, put some fluid in it last night. Had it open, I spun the pump a little bit just to kind of get the fluid rolling through, and saw some bubbles. It started feeding, that way it gave some fluid in there. So I got that line tied up for the pump up into there that I replaced. This line goes down. The blue lines are obviously the lines that I replaced down there. That clips back on. That's on there. I just used the same clip. It was still pretty good, so I used that. I had to get the belt back on. So after I get the belt back on, I'm gonna go through bleeding it. So I sprayed everything off. That way I could see if anything was leaking just from any fluid being in there, which it shouldn't really feed through without it being turned on all the way. But here's the line ran. Those are the new brackets. There's the brackets back on that main tube. It folds through. That one's up there on the front rail. And that's the one that goes in. And the other line that goes right into the gear. So that's the one right here. It's the cooler that runs up to the reservoir, and then the bottom right hose that goes into the gear is what feeds into this tube. And then this is the one that runs directly into the pump. So we have all that connected. So we're gonna get that belt back on, and I'll also post the tensioner pulley replacement, the actual whole arm assembly, because I had actually broke it. The aluminum's not really that strong for almost, 14-year-old truck. So I broke that, so I'll post that after as well. So that's on. Make sure you got a bucket or something underneath to catch any fluid that leaks. So I'll get that on there, and then we'll get to bleeding it out. So we got the belt on. I'll attach the serpentine belt diagram for the 5.4 Triton. It also works for the 4.6 for the 2000 to 2008 models. So there's that new idler pulley arm and everything installed. There's everything up. 1/2-inch drive right there with a pipe to kind of get you the leverage. Push it down towards the driver's side, and that'll drop that down, so that way you can attach the belt and or take it off. And what you want to do for these, once you get these on, because they're not going to be set right in place, you're going to go to the inside the truck and you're going to turn it to on, and then you're going to bump the start about 3 or 4 times, and it'll set your belt in place. That way everything's kind of set and nothing jumps or anything pops before you start your truck, and anything kind of snaps off and breaks, because there's a sensor right here, and you got brake lines over here, and another sensor over here, and AC lines, and radiator hose and stuff like that. You don't want to bust or break from a line. This belt's going to have to be changed, because you can see all the cracks in it and everything there. So this is just temporary to get this on and to get this power steering bled out. So alright, next step is pumping this, and we'll get fluid in here and get this bled out. So the next thing you're going to do is we're going to jack the front of the truck up. That way the wheels are off the ground. They both spin. There's nothing in the way. I'm going to be moving that plate. I'll move that light. This tire's already off. I don't need that on because I'm going to be doing the brakes as well. But it doesn't really matter if you have them on or not, because you want this in the air so there's no pressure at all under this system. So that way the air pushes out and the fluid runs through it. Those are the lines. So you're going to, and it says never to overfill. At this, you can set it right up to max. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn the truck on and let it run and pull the fluid in. And then you're going to be turning the wheel all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and you're going to do that about 10 times for each side. That's going to allow the air bubbles to press out, and you're going to fully extend it. You're going to bring it all the way to the end, hold it, bring it all the way to the right, hold it for like 2 or 3 seconds, go all the way back. So do that 10 times on each side. So you're going to be there for a minute doing it, but it helps get all that air out. So you'll do that, and when you do it a couple times, I would get out, check to see where your fluid's at, because you do not want this to run dry. Because as soon as air gets in there, you're right back to square one, and you're restarting all over and spinning the wheel 40, 60 times at that point, which you don't want to be sitting there doing. Because at the first point, you're not going to have start any power steering. So make sure you do that. You're checking, and bubbles is your sign. So as soon as you don't see any bubbles in there, that's your pretty much your indication that there's no air left in the system. There could be. So if you feel any tightness or jagging left and right while you drive after you bled it out, there's probably some air pockets still in there that it's catching. So you're probably just going to come right back through, lift the truck up, run through it, and top your fluid off. Make sure it's at your max mark, that way you're not overfilling it. So if it's only a couple bubbles, you're not overfilled on that. So always keep it at your max line, just for precautions. And then just kind of go through that, and you'll see if it helped or not. Because sometimes when changing this out, if the lines have been leaking and you've had troubles for a while, your pump could be going bad, which luckily for me, the pump looks bad because it's rusty, but the pump is still good. It's just the line literally just blew, so I want to take care of it before any more problems occurred. So we'll get this bled out, and then we'll see where it takes us. Alright, so as you can see, the fluid in there is a little low. Obviously, I went through about 6 times. And you're going to want to make sure this cap is off. You do not want that on, because it's going to build pressure and there's no air is going to release. So make sure that cap is off. What I'm going to do after my 5th or 6th one, I'm going to top this right back off to max. And then after the next 5 or 6, I'm going to go through and check the fluid again. So about every 5 full turns back and forth, you're going to want to go through your fluid and top it back off again. Alright, so I went through the full 20. After that first 5, I did about 10, and the fluid didn't drop. There was no bubbles, so at least the lines were fully went through. There shouldn't be any more air. There's no sign of any leaks anywhere. I checked down below. You're going to want to check at that knuckle from the tire. You want to check the connections in here, make sure there's no any leaks. You want to go down there and see where your sensor is at down there to see if anything's leaking from the sensor. And then down on your tube cooler. So you want to check that connection to make sure there's no leaks. Nothing's leaking for me now. So I put the cap right back on. So that should be all set. And then once you get that done, I would probably run it for about 5-10 minutes. Let the pressure build up. Just let everything kind of flow through and take it for a drive. Obviously don't go too far, because lines could pop off or anything could leak and leave you with no power steering. So drive it up and down the driveway back and forth, make hard turns, anything like that, to kind of build up the pressure to see if anything's faulty anywhere or feel any pockets. And what I would do is when you run it and test drive it, take that cap right off. So you'll pop this right off, close the hood obviously, and then just go drive around with it. So if you have a driveway, just kind of pull in, pull out to the road, turn around, run down the street, come back, and then check your fluid line. If it's a little low from it finally going through a little bit more, then just top it off, pop the cap back on, take it for a ride, see where it goes, come back, and then check for any leaks or anything like that, and then you should be set. So it's kind of a pain, but it's not too bad, just depending on everything is. These forwards, changing these lines aren't too hard. Luckily with everything screwing in, you literally just got that one to screw in from the pump, which I had to actually take off the pump to do this, to get in there, and it's an 18mm to get that off. So literally some vice grips or pliers, pull these off. Make sure, like with Ford, just use like Mercon 5 ATF transmission fluid to fill this right back up. So that'll work for that. And then obviously taking the belt off, and then don't forget to put that plastic piece down for your oil drip, because it will be a mess. So, and then just remember that was the 2 bolts with that were 10mm. Take that off right on and off from there, and then The other mount, you got to get that bracket down there. The 2 metal brackets down here. Hold that line on right there. These brackets come with the new line. Just make sure yours does before you break them, cut them, throw them away or do anything, but they do not give you the hardware. So those are 8mm along with the bolt for that bracket as well. So you'll throw that on, and then you want to make sure you clip that one back on. That way this isn't flipping around and cutting up on the frame or anything like that. So those are all set. Just make sure you're double checking for leaks and seals and everything. This gives you the regular band. I put an extra one on there for safety, and then you guys should be good. I appreciate you coming to check out the video at the Squat Shop. Make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, any suggestions, anything like that, and don't forget to subscribe. The subscribe button is right down at the bottom of the video. Click that and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications, and I'll check you later on the next video, and which should be the tensioner pulley. Alright guys, see you later. Alright guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and the videos are right down in the bottom right corner right here. You can click right here, hit the subscribe, go hit the notification button and likes on the videos. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for stopping by the Squat Shop. Part 2 will be posted soon. Thank you.